Okay, now, the video we're debunking today is the top 10 reasons why we know the Earth is round. Now, these morons who make videos like this don't even bother to look at both sides of the argument. They don't even know the model they're trying to dispute or debunk. And in actuality, they end up proving themselves wrong and us right because they're fucking too stupid and too lazy to actually look at both sides of the argument. They just assume that they haven't been indoctrinated. They assume they've been taught the right shit ever since the third grade. But in actuality, if they stop to fucking look for 2 seconds and do some actual research instead of believing some fucking teacher that's just regurgitating bullshit anyway, then they'd see how fucking stupid they are. Just like that idiot who tries to say that cloud coverage proves that fucking the Earth is round. Have you watched that video? Don't. It's fucking bullshit. Anyway, and also like idiots that say the sundials prove the Earth is round too. We're going to address shadows in this one. But this one's for the top 10 reasons that we know the Earth is round. Fully debunked. All fucking 10 of them. Now first, this moron goes to say all the other planets in the solar system and stars are round. Okay, well, I mean, they might be round, but we've got no proof they're spheres. In fact, from our own telescopes that you can buy and have in your house, there's no proof any of them are anything like Earth. And from what we know about them, they're sure nothing like fucking Earth. The only thing we have is bullshit photos from NASA. If you've done any research on NASA, you know they've lied to us about the moon landing. They lied to us about every fucking single thing. So, first off, the moon's round, right? But it might not be a sphere. Why do we only see one side of it? Why does it spin clockwise, or turn clockwise, I should say, and we never see 5 or 10 degrees on the side? It doesn't make sense. It's not fucking possible. NASA will say, oh, it moves in such perfect geocentricity with the Earth that you never see the other side. Well, what about the other side of the world? Why does somebody in New York and somebody in England see the exact face at the same time with no 5-10 degree difference? That is not fucking possible. Open your minds, people. The next one is time zones. This idiot thinks time zones proves that that the Earth is a sphere. Now, if you actually looked at the geocentric model, time zones work better on a geocentric model. In fact, like I've said in the other videos, if the sun is 100 times the Earth's size and 93 million miles away, every single day would be like the summer solstice. Every single day would be 12 hours, and every night would be 12 hours. So time zones and the sun setting and rising at different times is some of the biggest proof for the geocentric model, or flat earth theory, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But do some fucking research before you go trying to say, oh, that's not true, this isn't true. Understand both sides of the argument. Now, I started off trying to prove the fucking flat earth model wrong. It can't be done. There is no fucking curve, no matter how bad you look. And if you do enough research, then one day you're going to be on here arguing with all these morons that try to spout off the same shit they heard in the fucking elementary school that's just retarded. Let's see. So, that's 9 and 10. Number 8. Sorry. My notes are a little fucked up. Okay, so number 8 was the Coriolis effect. Now, people claim that water will only spin one direction in the northern hemisphere, one direction in the southern hemisphere, and hurricanes and typhoons will only spin that direction as well. Now, if you don't believe me, go YouTube it right now. You'll see plenty other fucking proof and evidence that hurricanes and typhoons will spin both ways in both fucking separate hemispheres. Not only that, but the Coriolis effect depends on how the water hits the basin, the form of the basin, and how it's draining. You can see proof of this all over the internet. The Coriolis effect is bullshit. Now, snipers will hop in and say, oh, well, being a sniper, we have to adjust for the Coriolis effect. Well, then ask your fucking selves why you don't have to adjust for the curvature of the Earth. Because it doesn't exist? Why do intercontinental ballistic missiles not have to adjust for the curvature of the Earth? Why do surveyors not have to adjust for the curvature of the Earth? They call it plane surveying for a reason. Now, apparently, after 250 kilometers squared, you're supposed to adjust for it. But after 250 kilometers squared, you're talking over a mile of curvature. This is ridiculous. Think about it. Periscopes, fucking lighthouses, all that shit would not work if the Earth was curved. Not to mention shortwave radio wouldn't go for thousands of miles. Okay, now, number 7 in this retarded ass video. This guy claims that if you walk 10,000 miles, make a right angle, walk 10,000 miles, make another right angle, and another 10,000 miles, you'll arrive at the same point. Which on a sphere, yes, would be possible. Technically, you wouldn't have to do 10,000 miles, but he's obviously saying something so big and ridiculous that you could not do it on the Earth. There's only supposed to be 25,000 miles in circumference, right? So how the fuck could you walk 10,000 miles and then take a right angle and another 10,000 miles? You'd be in the fucking oceans. But obviously this guy's such a retard. You know, he puts stuff that you couldn't possibly do. Now, if this were true, it would also be true on smaller scales, right? So, once again, the surveyors that do roads would have to adjust for this. Roads would not be going parallel, they'd be going into each other. You know, obviously common sense completely escaped this moron too. So number 6, shadows from sticks. Now apparently Earthsophiles, I forgot the fucking dude's name, but apparently the first guy, way back in ancient Greece, that his library burnt down or whatever, fucking, he said that closer to the equator, since the shadow is not the same distance, or is less than further north, this proves a spherical Earth. Now, like I said, I'd address shadows. Once again, if the Earth is 93 million miles away from the Sun, and the Sun is 100 times the Earth, Sun is fucking gigantic, the Earth's just a pin dot, we wouldn't be getting any shadows at all northwest. Very little east-west, except for sunrise and sunset. I mean, north and south. Think about it. If the Sun is so gigantic, you would not have shadows. You would not have hot spots like you do. You can tell the Sun isn't 93 million miles away. Yeah, it looks small in the sky, right? But if it was really 93 million miles away and 100 times the Earth, the whole light would completely envelop the Earth. That's why I was saying you'd have 12-hour days, 12-hour nights every fucking night. I mean, NASA is so easy to prove wrong. Think about it. They claim that a little tilt causes winter and summer, right? But yet, during winter, we're supposedly millions of miles closer to the Sun. But this little tilt causes a change in seasons? Millions of miles doesn't? Like, it's like they try to say the dumbest shit and say, oh, well, since people think we're astrophysicists, they're just gonna fucking believe us? Do your own research. Look it up. NASA lies their asses off. You can find so much proof that they don't go to space, at least not beyond low Earth orbit. That's still up for debate. So shadows, anyway. Of course, if you're further away from the Sun, it's going to have a longer shadow. Now, people try to say this is proof of a spherical Earth, but The sun is supposed to be 100 times the size of the Earth, so it shouldn't fucking matter. Shadows prove that is it flat. You don't believe me? Take a fucking sextant, measure how far the sun is. Okay, now number 5, the constellations. In my opinion, constellations are some of the biggest proof we have that the Earth does not move, and has been ever since Aries' failure and certain experiments that were done like 200 fucking years ago. But they don't teach these in school because they want you to believe in a spherical Earth. Now, all the stars and the moon all move at the same trajectory and speed. If you know basic physics or trig, this is not possible to be caused by the Earth moving, unless all of them were the same distance away. Now, we know that's not the case. We know not every star is not the same distance away from the Earth. So there would be parallax, there'd be all type of issues that does not make fucking sense. Do your research. Stars and constellations are the biggest proof. Not only that, but if we were exploding out from the Big Bang and everything expanding, right? Because NASA and science tells us that the galaxies and everything are coming out from the Big Bang at 18 billion miles a year, right? 18 fucking billion miles a year. And yet we're looking at the same constellations as people 20,000 years ago? Tell me how that's fucking possible, you NASA fucking fan geeks. That does not make any sense whatsoever, right? Galaxies would be in completely different spaces every day, not to mention thousands of years later. The constellations would not be the same from day to day, not to mention thousands of years later. And if the Earth was spinning, you'd see parallax, where the further stars move quick, or the closer stars move quicker, right? Like when you cross a downtown skyline. If you don't believe me, look up the law of perspective. Learn what the fuck parallax is. So number 4, the great circumnavigation. Well, you can circumnavigate the world from east to west. More proof that these idiots do not understand the flat Earth model at all. They haven't even bothered to look at it before they start talking shit. Now, of course, on the flat Earth model, which is the UN map, which is the map everybody uses, we use the same fucking map as the people that fly your airplanes, that fucking pilot ships and everything around the world. We use that same fucking map. If you try using a fucking globe, you're gonna get lost as shit. And like that Malaysian Airlines that they're still picking parts out of the ocean because they ran out of gas because fucking Earth is not shaped like that. It's shaped like the UN map. That's why that fucking flight ran out of gas. Because idiots tried to fucking circumnavigate further south than they were supposed to. Anyway, people still think Columbus proved that fucking the Earth was round. And all that idiot proved is that you could go from one hemisphere to the other, or from the eastern to the western, by sailing due west. Look at the flat Earth map, look at the UN map, look at the map everybody fucking uses. Yeah, you can still circumnavigate east to west, west to east. But you will never find somebody circumnavigating south to north, north to south. Because it's not possible. You know? They could easily prove it by going across the South Pole, but wait, there's a big fucking giant armada and army and all type of shit keeping you from going to the South Pole. No, wait a second, Rick. Now, what about these tours I can get for $10,000 where I can go to Antarctica? Yeah, on a fucking guided tour. You can't take yourself. You can't sell your own boat down there. If you do, there's going to be a bunch of warships. You're going to be fucking arrested. Look up the Antarctic Treaty if you don't believe me. And for you idiots to say, oh, well, the Antarctic Treaty is to protect our environment. In the 1940s, you really think the governments cared about protecting our environment? Think about it, man. The 1940s. When Admiral Byrd went down there, he said we were going to be pulling all types of coal and natural resources out that bitch, which was the general idea. And then in the 1940s, they make a treaty to protect this land with no natural fucking species on it. What are they protecting? Use your fucking head. It doesn't have any natural species except for the penguins that fucking swam there from South America, from Argentina. So what are they protecting? They're protecting their lie. And everybody says, oh, well, why would they have reason to? Well, if you look at their fucking... Every conspiracy relates to this one. Every conspiracy in the world goes back to this one. Why would they want to keep the people stupid? Why would they want to continue to fleece the taxpayer for trillions of dollars? If people knew that space travel was not possible, they would not pay trillions of dollars for fucking space travel. Think about it. So before you fucking morons say, well, what's the reason? I don't know. What's the reason 9/11? Operation Northwoods? The Gulf of Tonkin? Come on, man. Use your fucking heads. Ships on the horizon for number 3. Now, this is what I'm talking about, 3rd grade shit. When you were in 3rd grade, your teacher said, oh, well, Columbus sat there, and he saw ships going over the horizon, and he said, oh, the earth is round. I'm going to sail around it. And you morons that do not even bother to fucking look at shit continue to bring this one up every fucking day. Ships going over the horizon, over the horizon. Go buy a fucking telescope. Buy a pair of binoculars. If that ship is going over the curve, then why magically when you look through binoculars or a fucking telescope, it comes back over the curve? No. The curve does not exist. Once again, it's the law of perspective. Information compresses the further it gets away. So it appears that the bottom has disappeared beyond the horizon, when actually it's just thousands and thousands of feet away, so the information is compressed to where the fucking... You can't tell where the bottom of the boat is and where the sea is. Grab a pair of binoculars, grab a fucking telescope, and realize, as soon as you think it's gone over the curve, then fucking look through it. There is no fucking curve. Now, NASA tells us it should be 8 inches per mile squared. So obviously, you know, when it gets 10, 15 miles, that boat should disappear completely, telescope or not. But it fucking doesn't. You'll see tons of proof if you actually do your research. So that brings us to 2, the shadow on the moon. Now, the shadow on the moon, obviously, they're referring to the lunar eclipse, where they're saying the shadow is caused by the Earth. Now, lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, so on, were predicted with accuracy thousands of years before the heliocentric model. They were predicted without counting on the Earth to be causing the shadow. So that shadow is no proof that it's coming from the Earth. Once again, also, you can look up times, like I think just a year or 2 ago, when the sun and the moon were in the sky at the same fucking time and there was a lunar eclipse. So obviously it wasn't perfectly lined up with the Earth behind it. You wouldn't have been able to see it. NASA tried saying that the light reflected in a weird fucking angle, which makes no fucking sense. And it's absolutely retarded if you believe it and buy into that bullshit just because they say they're fucking astrophysicists and they're the fucking smartest ones on the planet. Now, a lot of people can't fucking think for themselves, and that's obvious. But do your own fucking research. It's not possible. So, 9 debunked, 1 more to go. Now, his biggest proof yet of a round Earth, or spherical Earth, I should say, is photographic evidence. Now, all y'all, take your homework, Google right now real pictures of the Earth from space. And if you Google the pictures of the Earth from space, you're going to be pretty amazed with what you find. For one, most of them say composites. You don't know what a composite is, Google that too. It means taking many images and making one image. So it's not just a fucking picture. Now, the other ones, the only ones they even fucking claim are real pictures, are from the Apollo missions. And if you don't know the Apollo missions were fake, Hall of Mirrors is a great documentary. You know, and there's BBC documentaries. There's tons of documentaries. If you really think they went to the moon, do some fucking research. It's impossible. Especially if you believe in the heliocentric model, with the fucking Earth moving 1.6 million miles a day. The Saturn V rocket sure couldn't have fucking held a candle to that shit. So, photographic evidence he talks about is complete bullshit. Take it from a graphic designer. There's reoccurring cloud patterns. People have proved that shit wrong beyond a shadow of a doubt. Plus, if there's supposedly 30,000 satellites orbiting the Earth at all times, why don't they just take a fucking picture? They take little strips and put it all together to one picture. It doesn't make any fucking sense. If the Hubble's out there, why don't they just fucking turn it at the Earth? How does the Hubble take a picture of itself as it's flying by planets? Come on, man. There is too many anomalies that make no fucking sense. So do some research, especially fucking morons who want to sit here and argue these points and say shit that you learned in the 3rd grade like it's fucking gospel. It's a joke, man. You don't even understand the model you're trying to dispute. You say, oh, shadows prove this, shadows prove that. No, when you think about it, if the sun is 100 times the Earth, we shouldn't really have many shadows. We shouldn't have hot spots from the sun. Anyway, that's all I ask. Do your own fucking research. Don't take my word for it. Don't take NASA's word for it. I'm just trying to get y'all to fucking think.